Just Talk Black Show. Disclosure Statement. Disclaimer. The views and opinions shared on the Just Talk Black Show are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the show, its sponsors, or affiliates. This show is a space for open, honest, and respectful dialogue within the Black community. Some conversations may include sensitive topics, strong language, or personal opinions that are intended to spark thought and encourage positive change. Listener discretion is advised. All guests are responsible for the accuracy of their statements and agree to participate voluntarily. By appearing on the show, guests give permission for their audio, video, and likeness to be recorded and distributed across Just Talk Black's platforms. Let's talk real. Let's talk truth. Let's just talk black.
Real voices, real talk. This is the Just Talk Black Show with DJ Purpose. Every Thursday, 7 p.m. sharp. Every story, every struggle, every win we claim. We speak it loud for respect on our name. Yeah. Let's talk black, we shine, we grow. Building up the people every Thursday on the Just Talk Black Show. From pain into pride, let the whole world know we're unfiltered, unite. Just Talk Black Show. We speak on the struggles, we celebrate when voices from the block to the boardroom within. Our stories connect us, it's deeper than chat. It's love, it's respect. Just Talk Black, just Talk Black Show. Say it loud, let's talk black, just Talk Black Show. Rise together, let's talk black show. Yeah. Just Talk Black Show. Oh yeah. Just Talk Black Show.
Hello guys and welcome back to the Just Talk Black Show. What a week we had. And if you wasn't tuned in on Monday guys, we had a black parenting panel, and what a panel that was. If you missed it, you can get it back live on YouTube. You can watch it, should I say, on YouTube again, so go and watch that. Go and check it out. And that's on the Just Talk Black Show on YouTube. You can watch that live. That conversation is one that, boy, blew my mind away. Some of the stuff that was coming out, some of the knowledge and some of the stuff that we were talking about. So go and check that one out. But today, we are still focusing on black parenting. But the topic is going to be building a stronger bond with our kids. Come on, this is what we need. We need to build a stronger bond with our kids. Definitely. And we have our guest, Jenny, who was actually on the panel on Monday. So again, go and check that out again. Very interesting panel that was. But before I move on and bring our guest in, Jenny, I am going to tell you about our show for next week, Thursday. So this is the show for next week, Thursday. We have Nathaniel. This one is a one not to miss. Again, as I always say, gosh, we are getting some real good people on this show. We're going to be talking about black men and mental health. This guy, I'm telling you, you do not want to miss this show. Next week, Thursday at 7 p.m. on the Just Talk Black Show. You can find that on YouTube. But now, as we dive deep into black parenting and building stronger bonds with our children, let me bring our guest in. So, hi Jenny, you was on the Just Talk Black Show on Monday, and what I'm telling you, you blew me away. You absolutely blew me away with some of the stuff that you was saying on it, and I'm just gonna say to people, go and watch that. They just need to go and watch that. But just introduce yourself for people who have never seen you before or don't even know what you do. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so thank you for allowing me on your platform, DJ Purpose. It's a pleasure to come back again. I think this has been about my third time that I've been on your platform, so it's really great to be here again. So I'll just introduce who I am. So my name is Jenny Beckford. I'm a family wellbeing consultant and parent and teen coach. I support families from all different backgrounds. Because of my lived experience as a black woman and a parent, many black families they naturally connect with me. So I'm also the founder of Greater Elevation Coaching and Consultancy. I hold a master's in coaching psychology. I work privately and in schools, delivering mindset and emotional well-being for parents and also teenagers. I bring lived experience. I'm a mum of twin daughters who are young adults. And I also bring professional expertise from my training. My work has been recognised by being awarded Coach of the Year by the Single Mum Business Network in 2023. And quite recently, a couple of months ago, I was awarded Rising Star by the Woman Like Us, which was awarded by amazing business lady who's doing big things within the community, Mavis Amankwa. And yeah, so that's me.
Okay. So just tell us a little bit. Let's start off with a little bit about your childhood. What was it like for you growing up as a young teenager? What was it like for you?
So I grew up in a one parent household with my mum and my brother. I was the oldest, and as a teenager, I would say quite outspoken. I I felt at the time that I was really confident. I'd like hanging out with my friends, just really just enjoying life as a teenager. Just I'd say typical teenager. I went from kind of that teenager who was always like into different fashion trends, throughout the years. I think so many things. My poor mum, sometimes I was a yardie, sometimes I was into hip hop. I went through all those kind of sort of little transitions as a teenager. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's one lesson that you learnt from your parents?
I would say my mum always used to say, one thing that will carry you far is manners. She was saying, no
Mm,
matter what, yeah, hear what I'm telling you, because Jamaica, she says, one thing that will carry you far is if you have manners. Make sure
yeah,
you always have manners. Make sure when you're out on the road and you see my people, you say hello, you say good morning, you say thank you, you say, you just have manners. That was one thing my mum always drilled into me. And, something that I've really big on, having manners.
yeah. So what was one moment in your life that you said, boy, that really pushed you towards helping families? What was that one moment that you just said, yeah, I need to start doing this?
For me, it was. So I'll just tell you a bit of a backstory about how I've come into doing what I'm doing now. I've got twin daughters. My daughters they're now 28, and when they, so I became. I don't like to label, but a one parent household, a single mother when I think they were about six, and as they became teenagers, like I noticed a shift in them, like they changed the way their attitude was. And to be honest, looking back, I was going through my own kind of stresses, navigating, looking after, bringing up two daughters, full time by myself. And we were going through this period, although I was supporting young people, because I've always worked with young people, I've got well over 20 years of supporting young people. Coming into my household, I couldn't communicate with my daughters, I couldn't connect with them. We were just banging, we were just back and forth, banging heads, if always. And there were times when I would speak to my daughters. Maybe I didn't like the response, or maybe I know it's something to do with myself, how I was receiving it. And sometimes I'm not bold, I'm not scared enough to say I'm true, I don't feel no way. When I used to have disagreements with my daughters, when they were teenagers, sometimes I would just be like, I'm leaving. They're like, where you going? I used to storm out, slam up the door. Don't ask me where I was going. I'd probably get up to the end of the road, switch off my phone so they couldn't get me. My children are hanging out the window. Mum, come back. Where you going? This was happening on a regular basis. And it just came to a turning point where every conversation, it ended up where it was just ending up into an argument. And for me, I didn't really think about myself. I'm just saying, oh, it's them. They're not listening to me. They don't have manners. They're not listening. They always want to be asking me and questioning me when I'm saying no. And I know what happened. Actually, I do know what happened. I went on sort of like a journey. I was going through some emotional, yeah, just really going through an emotional time, navigating the single parenthood, stress at work. You know, this was all cycling into the parenting. And I remember firstly going back to church because I used to always go to church. I've always believed in God, but I found a new church. And then I remember praying and I'm saying to God, you know, I've gone back to church, but I need to help me to give me somebody that's going to help me to sort out all areas of my life. And with that prayer, I went onto Instagram. I saw this black lady. She's a coach, Christian coach, and I liked to hear what she had to say. And I was like, she's talking sense. So I started listening to her, and commenting and stuff. And then she had an event, and I thought I need to go to her event, but I also want to be coached by her as well. And I remember being there, and there was 300 women there, and she shouted out, "Is there a Miss Slimmers here?" That was my Instagram name. Yeah, it's not that anymore. Just want to put that out there. Is
Yeah.
there a Miss Slimmers here? And my friend said, "I'm sure that's your Instagram name. Nobody's getting up." I was like, "This is embarrassing. I can't go up." She's like, "Miss Slimmers, where are you?" And my friend was like, "Just get up." So I've got up, and she said, "Right, I've got this book for you. Is it Ivana Van Sant?" And she said, you're always interacting with my lives on the Zoom, and you've just been running on my mind. Here's a book. So I kind of took that as a sign. I signed up to a coaching membership, and for 2 years, I started to work on myself. And she helped me to realize that a lot of me not being able to connect with my children is me. So she forced me to point the finger within. So as I started to receive coaching, I was with her for 2 years. My mindset started to change. I started to think differently. The relationship with my daughters transformed. And then helped me. She said, you know, what's your purpose? What do you want to do? And I'm like, I don't know. I like supporting young people. So then I decided that I'm going to help teenagers. So I became a certified teen coach practitioner. And then when I started that, I remember going to church. I remember seeing a name in the church, Greater Elevation. I was sitting there, I heard a voice going, "That's going to be your business." And I'm like, "What business?" And I was like, "Okay, I'm just going to go home and write that down." And so registered the business as Greater Elevation. This was about 5 years ago, supporting teens, but then said, what about the parents? What about what you needed when you was going through that challenging time where you couldn't connect with your daughters? So then I put the two together. Okay, I'm going to support teens, parents, opened up a Facebook group for parents, free Facebook group, started off with 3 people, about 4 people. This is about 5 years ago, and now we're up to 800 parents in that actual community. So that was the story where I transformed and I've worked on myself. So it led me to say, like, I need to go and support other families, and I can speak from that space because now the relationship has transformed. Let me go and help and support the other families that need the support as well.
And how was that when you had to work on yourself? What was that like? Because when you have to point the finger at yourself and work on yourself, how much people really do that and really want to check and say, you know what, I'm at fault. So what was that like for you when you had to do that?
It was uncomfortable. It was embarrassing because I had to face how I was being, just going back through certain ways of thinking. Yeah, it wasn't easy. There was a lot of tears. There was a lot of resistance. But my coach was saying to me, she was reassuring me that it's not going to be easy. I'm going to tell you. I'm like, yeah, it's cool. I've heard about, yeah, it's fine. I'll be all right. But there were certain exercises that I had to do, things like journaling, looking at myself and facing what I didn't face. Perhaps when I was younger and I probably didn't understand. A lot of that has come into my parenting. So yeah, it was quite uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to stick on that. I want to actually stick on that because that is so interesting. That's got to be the first point of call when it comes down to having a relationship with your kids is yourself. As you said, you had to look at yourself first. So for our listeners today, how can we start looking at ourselves, what are some of the stuff that we need to do to start looking at ourselves and start bettering ourselves?
Okay, well, I can give, if we're looking at the context of a parent and a child, there's an exercise that I give a lot of the families that I work with. Ask your children to describe you in 3 words or 3 sentences,
Wow.
right? And this is something that I've done. A lot of the things that I get the parents to do, I've done. Yeah. And it's now like holding up a mirror, because remember, your children, they're the one that sees you. You know, sometimes, like for me, I will go to work and put this mask on pretending that everything is okay. When I come home, it's a different story. So they know me for who I am at home. Yeah. So yeah, get your child to describe you in 3 words or sentences. Now, one thing I say to parents is, allow, you need to make it be a way that is comfortable for your child to be very open with you, because if you're going to be, they're going to tell you something perhaps that you don't want to hear, and then it's going to be a backlash. That's not going to work. So it has to be a case of, you have to reassure them and say, like what I had to say, listen, I know that the way that how I've been being is not great, and I want to make that change. This is what I said to my daughters. So I know you say don't listen, and I know you say that I'm always raising my voice and always shouting and yelling, but I need you to give me the honest opinion of 3 words, 3 sentences. And I remember
Mm.
one of them said, they both actually said the same thing. Although they're twins, they've got their own individual personality. But I asked them at a separate time just to see. One of them, they both said, "You're funny." So I'm like, "Oh, yeah, cool. They like my jokes." You don't listen. You never listen. You're always shutting us down. I said, hold on a minute. I think that's free. There's like, see? I said, sorry, sorry. And
Mm.
you just want to keep talking over us. You don't listen. I think it ended up being more than free, but I allowed them to say what they had to say. And I would say to parents, you get that information from them and then you work on it. And if your emotions allow you to say, like, could you explain to me what you mean, then do it. But if you've heard it and you're struggling with it and it's going to cause a bit of an upset, you might just want to pause it and say, okay, thank you for your feedback. I appreciate that. Take some time out, and then maybe return the next day to say, can I just ask you, you know what you said, could you explain to me a bit more so that I can understand that for myself?
Okay, so it's
Good starting point.
it's that starting point of, letting them express themselves and letting them tell you how they feel, and that could be hard to take if they
Yeah.
say certain stuff. So that's the first protocol I would say, that you need to deal with yourself first as a parent. Then
Yeah.
after that, you're looking at yourself. What would you say that the children would have to do after that point then? Because you've looked at yourself, you've found out all these things that you need to improve and you need to work on. So how does it work with the kids now?
Right. So I'm going to tell you something, yeah, because this is something that kind of comes up. And I'm going to speak from my lived experience and what I've seen. A lot of the parents, including myself, think they can just fix their children. And for me, what took place for our relationship to transform is, you see, when I did the work on myself, honestly, at first, they were not used to me not raising my voice. That was the first thing. So if I'm talking calm, they would say, you're being sarcastic, you're being condescending. And my coach was just, I remember saying to me, just stick with it. If you've been a certain way for so many years and you've got people around you, namely your children for starters, and they've seen you a certain way, do you think that if you starting to put in the change, that just like that they're going to accept that? You're not going to accept that. So just be ready for that. And the thing is, the coach that I was with, she wasn't a parenting coach. She was like making me look at all areas. But I get the parents to look at themselves. It's not just about being a parent, because once you work on yourself, it has that ripple effect. So for me, once I did the work on myself, my children started to change towards me. Now, one thing I want to say, there is no one size fits all, because sometimes I get parents going, oh, my child has behavioral problems, and that's a different thing altogether. But in this context, it's, let's start looking at us as a parent first and identifying what we need to do, and you'll find that your child will, the relationship, they will see you in a different way. But also, as you know, I work with young people anyway, and that's a different kind of thing where I'd help them with their mindset, their confidence, that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
when what I usually want to start with, if I can, is I support the parents. But when I go into schools, sometimes there's no parents there, so it's the children. But I've been encouraging the schools to allow me to work with the parents as well, so that we can have this ecosystem where, because if I just imagine when I first started, I was working with teenagers, and I thought to myself, hold on, if I support teenagers and they go home and say, Jenny said this, Jenny said that, and the parents are not on the same side, it's going to undo my work. Do you see where I'm coming from? So yes, the children do get supported, but I'd always say look at yourself first, because some of your behavior that you just demonstrate at home, it's modeling behavior that your children will pick up.
So as well, in your experience, what's the biggest challenges that black parents face today as well? What would you say that would be?
I think there's a stigma of they some parents, I know I did, feel ashamed to ask for help. That's the first thing. But I always say asking for intervention is a form of self-care. That means you love yourself enough to know that you actually need some support. So I would say the fear of being judged as well. Maybe not having a support system as such as a safe space. I mean, I know it takes a village to raise a child, but sometimes we can get into this place where we ask for advice or guidance. I'm just going to use this as an example from family members who probably mean well, but sometimes the kind of advice may be a little bit biased, if that makes sense. So yeah, so stigma, I would say the judgment, fear of being judged, not having a safe space, not wanting to ask for help. Yeah, these are all intertwined.
Yeah. So you talked about the talking to your children, having that conversation where they can tell you. So how, as parents, can we create a safe space for the children to feel and be able to talk? Because that is creating that space to say, okay, I'm allowing you to have this space. So how can we create that safe place? How can we start that off?
Well, how we can create that space is, you can say to your child that you're happy to have conversations with them. You would want to be that person that they can come and speak to about anything. And there may be times when you're upset, but as long as you express that in a way that's respectful, it's fine. We can have a conversation. So it's just about putting in those boundaries. Let's just say you have a conversation and you can see where this is going to go. I always say, like, pause that conversation. Let's not continue it. And you would say as a parent, I'm going to give you your time to kind of cool down because it looks like you're a bit upset. I'm feeling a little bit upset too. So let's just have a little bit of a break and we come back. But it's a case of if you're a parent like how I was, and I was never listening and always shouting, and it may be difficult for them to approach. So if you acknowledge it and say, I know how I've not been before, I've been demonstrating that I'm not good listening to you. I'm always jumping in. But what I'm saying to you is that I'm working on myself now. So I want to give an opportunity for you to have an open space where you can come and speak to me and I can receive your feedback. I may not like your feedback. I may not always agree with your feedback, but I still want to give you that space that you're able to communicate that to me.
Yeah. Can you see this question on the screen? Can you see that? You want to read it out?
Good evening, all. Jenny, what is a key attribute for parents bonding with their children? Yeah, great question. Well, the first thing is the active listening, because sometimes it's a case of you've probably had scenarios where you have parents saying, you can tell me anything that you want to and I won't get upset. And then what happens? They come and tell you something, and then now that is an empty promise. You start shouting, you start yelling, that you've broken that trust. So it's about having your word as a bond to say that what you're saying is that you're going to follow that through. If they're going to come to you with something that, and for me, I had to be with my daughters, I had to listen and not even do the facial expressions because they used to, oh, why are you rolling your eyes? Oh, forget it. Oh, why are you shrugging? Forget it. Or if they call me and say, Mom, oh, what now? You know what, Mom, forget it. So
Mm.
it's a case of being self-aware about how you've been showing up, and if you're not self-aware when you're doing things and catching it in the moment, make a note of it, and then you can keep on going back to it and saying, right, okay, that's something that I've got to work on. Yeah. So you've got to be in a place where you're present, where you're not saying, oh, I can't talk right now, I'm busy. Make that time with your child. I always say to parents, I have a concept called MAD, make a date. Have a time where you schedule in regular time. But, and I'm saying aside that, but if your child has come to you because they want to speak to you about something, I would say do your due diligence to make that a priority. Sometimes my daughter used to come in my room at 2 in the morning. Now I could easily say, oh, I'm tired, whatever, but some of these times were few and far between. So it's about making that time and making yourself as available as you can. And because it might be something that they need to speak to you at this present moment, and you've just said, I'm not available. So as much as possible, make yourself available. If you're not available because it's something where you're saying, actually, I'm at work or whatever, say, this is great. Let's continue that conversation when I get home so we can sit down and have great time. So just being conscious, if that makes sense, in terms of you making sure that they are important, yeah, and they understand that there are going to be times that perhaps you may not be available, but be as available as you can, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
So how can single parents build a stronger bond without feeling overwhelmed? Because as a single parent, there's a lot of single parents say, I've got to do this, I've got to come from work, I've got to cook, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. What is the key thing that they can use or should be doing to build that stronger bond with their kid?
Well, involving your children in things like the cooking. I know sometimes we just want to come home and we just be like, we can't bother, but you might come home and feel like, oh, I've got to do the cooking and it's going to be long. Um, you know, get your children with you in the kitchen, pull up a chair or something, or, come and chat to me while I'm cutting up the potatoes and what have you. And if you've had a bad day at work, because that happens, communicate that to your child and say, today was a really challenging day for me today. It's been, because sometimes we come home, and I've done it as a single parent, and I'm stressed out. So now my daughters are getting that version of me. They don't know why I'm stressed out. I'm yelling. I'm not listening to them when they're talking. So it's about communicating with your child, obviously age appropriate, but let's just say you've had a challenging time at work. You'd come home and just say, today's been a really long day, but guess what? I'm happy to be here with you. Just make them feel that I'm in my safe space with my child, and even as much as it's been challenging outside, I'm here with them. So you can it's just like the language that you use. And if you have multiple things to do, it's a case of doing your best to delegate them. Like things don't, all the things that have to be done at one time. And this is me speaking from experience, because a lot of us who are single parents, one parent households, feel like we've got to be doing everything because sometimes we don't have that support.
That
And
support.
yeah, and I understand that. But it's a case of just taking each day as it comes and doing what you can do as possible, like the cooking. If your child is old enough, even if they're not old enough, do you want to come in the kitchen and watch? You're just having that time with them, but just making sure that you're managing your stress, whatever that looks like. You're really taking care of yourself.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So how can parents show that love in a way that the children can actually feel? Because when we're growing up, and I could only talk about the old school sort of parenting, but
Yeah.
they didn't really show that love. It was just like, yeah, go and do this or go and do that. But it was never a case of like a hug or when you done something, No, I don't know. When you're done, the old time school parenting is just like they're just rough. They just like that's it, not showing that love sort of thing. So how can parents show love in a way that their children can actually feel that love? Because we want to build that bond, and we want them to feel that we care, we love them, and we want to be stronger and closer to them. So what can they do? What can parents start doing to show their children that they actually love them in a way?
Okay, so there's something that I've been encouraging parents to do. So this is we're talking about like sort of like for teens. That's my specialism. Things like writing like little notes. Let's just say like they're going to wear a certain jacket. Yeah. You write a little note. You're amazing. I love you. Have an amazing day. Put that in their jacket pocket. Put it in their packed lunch. When they come home, instead of just saying, the usual, how was school? You know what you're going to get, a shrug or a shoulder, what have you. Talk about your day. Oh, today I did this. How was your day? And just embrace them. Even if, they've got their GCSEs and, a lot of young people can be quite stressed and overwhelmed about that. And if they came home and they didn't get the A and they got the C, they get the B, what have you, well done for making that effort. Well done for making that effort, and don't worry about it because I'm here to support you. What can I do to support you? You can ask them, what do you want? What do you want me more to do? What are the things that I need to do less of? You know, what I do with my daughters for no reason. We've been doing this, and I was asking them how this all came about. When we speak to each other on the phone, the last thing we say before we hang up is "I love you." When they leaving to go somewhere, "I love you." Just little things. It doesn't have to be on an occasion or anything like that. Just really reaffirm them. You know that you're an amazing person. You know that you're good. You know that I'm so blessed to have you in my life. Just really affirm them. And it doesn't have to be like, when they do well at school, because sometimes it's just maybe praise when they've done well at school, which is good. But outside of that, you can just, you can praise them and you can just give them words to build up themselves and build up their confidence.
So what about the fathers? What can the fathers do as well? Because I want to touch on the man. What can we do to show our kids that love as well? From a man's point of view, what can we do?
From a man's point of view, do you know what? I think this goes for mums and dads. It's just
Both
about
the same ways.
making time for your children, making time. Like my suggestion was with the make a date. I always say this to parents. When I delivered a talk the other day, I do this quite often, and I ask the parents, both mums and dads, do you have an appointed time that you spend time with your children? And I'm not saying when they've got sports day or when they've got the prom or stuff going on at school, because everybody started putting their hand up. As soon as I said, if I asked you to show me in your diary, you've got a reoccurring date with your child, could you show me? All the hands went down. So first and foremost, it's like I don't know, I'm making this up. You might say every end of the month, every last Friday, we're going to do something together. Yeah. And as I said, my specialism is teens, because with teens, as they get to a certain age, don't really want to hang out with mum and dad. Yeah. But let's just say you've got in their phone every last Friday, you're going to hang out with them. Right. And it may be that they're into computer games and you're going to be sitting on the sofa with them. Yeah. So that's like your allocated time with them, so that even if they say to their friends, "Oh no, I can't hang out with you, I'm going out with my mum, I'm going out with my dad." So that's one way, a scheduled time. It's a bit like date night for husband and wife. You're having that time with your child.
Definitely.
That's something, yeah, to reinforce. Outside of that, just be available. Even like, young people are into technology. Sometimes send them a little text. "I love you. You're amazing. Tonight we're going to have this for dinner." Just keep that line of communication. And even if sometimes they're in their room, knock the door, you know, do little gestures for them, bring them a little cup of tea. You know what I mean? Just little things like that in terms of, and asking them, how's the day going? Is there anything that was difficult about their day? What did they like most about their day? So it's again the languaging and opening open questions, as opposed to, "Oh, how was school today?" Yeah. kind of change the language. What was the best thing about school today? What was the least thing that you didn't enjoy at school today? What was the test that you, do you know what I mean? Just kind
Yeah.
of change those kind of conversations, not closed conversations, but open conversations that help them to want to open up to you more. Because a lot of young people, even some young people that I know that I'm quite connected to, they're sometimes a little bit, they just can't be bothered to have conversations. They don't see the point of it. But if you keep that line of communication going, sometimes you find out that sometimes they just don't even want to stop talking. Then you feel like, oh no,
You
I've
started
asked too many
something.
questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is good though, which is good. Yeah.
So what's another thing? What's one thing that parents should stop doing today if they want more peace at home? Because sometimes we come home and it's just like mayhem, and we want that peace and we want that calmness in the house. What's one thing that parents should stop doing today if they want more peace at home?
I would say one thing that comes to mind is I'm going to refer it back to the workplace. So when say you've come home and you've had like a bad day at work, yeah. Now the whole household has to pay for it. Yeah, so you've come home and you're just in a foul mood. I'm not in the mood. I don't want to talk to anybody right now. I'm not in the mood. That may be so, but it's the way that you are. It's your delivery. How's about just saying, "Mum needs like 10 minutes. Just gonna need to take a little 10 minutes, and then I'm gonna come back, and then we'll cook dinner or what have you." Yeah, it's like stop bringing the weight of the world from outside inside the home, right? And I'm not saying that you should come home and everything's going to be okay, but it's the communication. So stop bringing that negativity in to the household, and you're not communicating what's actually happened. So sometimes you get in some households where dad's come home, he's upset, and mum might be like, oh, dad's really not in the mood today. Let's just keep it down. We're going to walk on eggshells. No, why should we have to walk on eggshells? Do you know what I mean? Dad should be able to come in and communicate and say, today's been a really tough day. Give me 20 minutes. I'm just going to have a shower. I'm just going to calm myself down, have a cup of tea, then I'll come back. And then, yeah, let's sit and have dinner. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Do you think, and this is just me just asking, do you think that parenting has changed a lot from the old times where back in the days, and I'm not saying every family don't do it, but back in the days, Sunday was a day that everybody sat around a table. Everybody had their food around the table. Everybody said a prayer before eating. It was a more, you done those family games and sort of stuff. But I find that as the time goes on, you've got kids nowadays and they're sitting around the table and they're on their mobile phone. Or they've got a tablet. Or the kids sitting in the chair and the mum's doing something else and the kid's just distracted by the tablet or going onto YouTube or something. Do you find that nowadays that parenting styles have changed? It's like more back in the days, I would say it was about the family bond because you didn't have no distraction. You didn't have these sort of computer games and, you had your old computer games, but that was the old computer game, not like nowadays where you got your mobile phone and you're searching and you're got your headphones on. Most kids nowadays, they got the headphones on. They're in the bedroom, got the headphones on, or and you're talking to them and they don't even know that you're talking to them because they got the headphones on. They're so, and then you've got computers as well nowadays that the kids are so much into these what is it, PS5? My son's got one.
Oh, yeah, PS5, yeah.
And to get them off it, it's just like they come in the house and they're straight jumped on it. Straight away. They're just in their room and they're laughing with their friends and they're playing this game. I don't even know what, Fortnite or whatever it is. Do you think that we need to go back to the old ways a little bit, would you say? What would you say from the good parts from the old days and what were the bad parts from the old days?
I would say the good parts, what you mentioned about, I'm just reminiscing now, like with my grandmother, she's no longer alive, but her household, there was always, you could always come there, there'd always be somebody home. Yeah, it was one of those households. And there'll be food, there'd be music, there'd be laughter, we're all there. And obviously, back in those days, there was no phone. Everybody was there chatting, enjoying themselves. So that was really the I would say the good old days. I would say in terms of if we were going to say bad, a lot of people say this. It's about like children should be seen and not heard. So as a child back then, in sort of my times when I was younger, you couldn't express yourself, and if you did, it was seen like you was being rude, and then you're in serious trouble. So sometimes you probably would try to test the waters, but you wouldn't. So I feel like freedom of speech, I felt like that wasn't something that was encouraged. You know what I mean? It was like sometimes you probably sometimes shut up, sit down, who tell you to talk, kind of thing. In terms of parenting changing now these days, and you spoke about a lot about the technology, for me, I'm just going to say, like, I'm going to be real talk. Yeah, it's about the setting of the boundaries. Because my thing here, how this all tells in. If your child has like, you are a parent, and for your child to have a phone, you've given your child the permission to have a phone, right? And because I'm always getting parents saying, "Oh, it's technology and what have you," I understand, but where was the boundaries when you were given that phone? Did you sit down and discuss? Okay, so you're going to get this phone now, and these are kind of the times, like, you see, when it's time for dinner time, I don't want to see that phone. Do you know what I mean? Those conversations at the beginning before they're given the phone, right? Same with the computer games as well. I mean, I had a friend who didn't give her daughter a phone till about, I think she probably went into late into secondary school. Everybody had the phone. She was coming out. My mum said, no, no, no. I don't particularly have see any. When I say problems, yes, social media. It that there's a lot of things going on out there, and I understand that children can see other people with their phones and their computers. But my thing is, the first thing is, it's setting boundaries. I have something that I encourage. I've got a framework like called the non-negotiable. So it's like the parent and the child sits down and we look at what is negotiable and what is non-negotiable. Yeah. So for instance, what perhaps will be non-negotiable is like at 6 o'clock when we're having dinner, that phone is not here. Or 7 o'clock is when you're going to lock off that phone and that is it. There's no more phone. And you'd have that conversation with the teenager and it will be like it's almost like a family contract. You both sign, you put that on the fridge. Now, come next week, your child is probably going to be, oh no, I'm going to get my phone and what have you. And what I tend to hear is sometimes parents feel fearful that if they don't give their child the phone, the child's not going to like them. Do you know what I mean? And we kind of getting to the point now where the lines are blurred. I've just given her the phone now because it's just giving me a peace of mind, or but you've agreed. So you got to stick to it. Because the thing is that if you don't stick to that, things start get a little bit up and down. So they should now be able to understand that 7 o'clock, like by 5 o'clock, they speak to their friends. See, by 7 o'clock, I won't be able to speak to you, because my phone is going in the drawer, whatever it is, until tomorrow. So it's about laying down some boundaries. But I would say that starts from the beginning of when they've had the phone. Now, some parents might say, is it too late for me to set the boundary? No, it's not too late to set the boundaries, but it's having that conversation where you say, well, I've seen this has been happening and you're spending far too much time on the phone, and this is what I'm looking to introduce into the household. They're probably not going to like it, but that's a part of life. You have to go to school every day, don't you? There's no choice. Same thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Definitely, definitely, yep. So what about if the parents like feels all right? Let's look at it like this. Parents, how can parents repair relationship if they feel they've already damaged it?
Okay, so it would be a case of acknowledging how you've been shown up as a parent, acknowledging how you've been. So it's almost as if you would go to your child and you sit down and have a conversation, and yeah, you're going to say sorry, but it's going to be learned behavior. You're going to change. So you're saying, I know I've been acting this way, and I know that the way that I've been communicating with you, there's a lot of shouting, a lot of yelling, and that has been wrong of me. but I am really wanting to change, and I want to put that right, you know. And I always go as far as telling the parent as well to write a letter to your child as well. Write a letter to your child so that it's meaningful. I actually did that. Because see this kind of self development, like people see me here and they feel like, oh yeah, she's perfect. No, no, I'm not. The thing about me is that I do my personal development. This is ongoing. This is not just, oh, I've qualified now, I don't need to do that. Even up to the other day, about 3 months ago, I wrote both of my daughters a letters because there were some things that just flashed back. I'm like, no, no. You know, some of these things that come back, how you've been being. I'm like, I actually didn't, we didn't discuss this. So I sent them both a letter. They didn't know. I sent them both a letter. It was posted. It's funny because both my daughters have left home, but one daughter, because she's teaching overseas, got a contract. She was here for the summer. So I posted both letters. It's so silly, really, because the one who lives in 45 minutes away from me, she got the letter first. So she's rang up her twin. Oh, what's going on? Mum sent me a letter. Then the other twin's like, so where's my letter? She's like, why didn't you just push it underneath my door? I said, no, I wanted you to go into the letterbox and get it. But anyway, cut a long story short, I wrote some things in the letters. I won't disclose it. But they were like, Mum, thanks for that, because yeah, you never really spoke about that. One of the actual things that I wrote in the letter is that when me and their father had split up, I hadn't ever even sat down and told them that we were splitting up. It's just like, something like that. They were young at the time, but I hadn't explained that to them. So I'd written the letter, but then we spoke about it as well. But I wanted them to have that letter as something that they could look back on.
When you said they was young, how young was they? How
It was
young was
six. It
they? Were
was
six.
six. Yeah. But it was never, and it's funny, it was, when I say funny, it was like, it was actually never communicated. There was no, okay, me and your dad are splitting up. It was nothing. They would see their dad every other weekend.
Yeah.
He was still in their lives, but it was not, there was no announcement to say, okay, we're going our separate ways. So it's one of those things where you feel like, actually, that's something that I didn't address. That's something I didn't talk about to them. When they were like, no, it's okay, Mum. But after I gave them the letter, we sat down and spoke about it as well. But why I sent that letter is just so that they've got something that is also heartfelt and they can look back on that to see that actually Mum's actually acknowledged that. But even here is a letter, see if they want to ever look back on that. So that's something, it can be quite deep. And I say this to say that it actually depends on what that is, because maybe there is such a lot of conflict. I would always, because I'm not a therapist, it might be a case of you might need to
Going
go
to
do
therapist.
some counselling. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that's one thing. A lot of parents come to me, I say to them, listen, I can support you with the coaching, but I'm not a therapist. I'm not a counsellor. But I do find that some of the families that I support, that they're having counselling and then they're having me coach them, like it's an add-on
Yeah.
which can help. But sometimes some things you just need to go and speak to a counsellor and get the right counsellor that's gonna really gonna help you, like, because there's a lot of trauma that a lot of parents go through as well from childhood as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely. So, what would you say the advice for parents raising the boys in today's world? What would you say an advice would for parents raising boys in today's world?
You hear a lot of, we talk about the boys having a father figure. And sometimes it's not quite possible. Sometimes, single parent household, difficulties or what have you. But it's about if they can have somebody that, as long as well as yourself, that can always be reaffirming them, can always be reaffirming them. And I think looking back now to what the work that I've been doing, it's really to help them to have a mentor. I think that's really, really important for them, because a lot of the things that I went through in terms of, I know obviously we're talking about boys, but bear with me where I'm coming from here. A lot of the things that I've kind of pent up over the years and what have you, this probably could have been resolved if I had somebody that I could have spoken to, in terms of having somebody that, can mentor me, can support me, as opposed to maybe if I couldn't really go to my mum or if I couldn't really go to my dad. So I would say for parents. I know there's mentors that they can have support. You know, there's a lot of free services and a lot of paid services. But I would say have somebody that can guide them, you know, throughout life, so that when they get older, they can really remember. You know, it could be a godfather, it could be a mentor,
That's what I was about to
just
say.
somebody. Yeah,
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 godparents. Definitely, I was going to
yeah,
say
yeah,
godparents. So
yeah,
people have to be sort of wise of who they're choosing as well when it comes
yeah.
down to godparenting, because I think that's important. And to
It
have
is.
that, especially if you're in a single household as well, to
Mm.
have that person to support you or that guy to support the guy, would be very good. So, what about raising girls in today's world? What would you say? What's the advice you would give to someone out there today?
I think speaking from experience with girls, again, if we bring in like with social media, there's a lot of glitz and glamour out there. And again, it's about, and I think I said this on Monday, it's about making sure that as much as you can, your child has somebody else that can act. When I say as a backup, as a means of support, you know, in terms of like for me, I've got a couple of children, and I was doing a discussion with one of my friends the other day. One of my goddaughters is 14, kind of 15, and you know, I've said that, you know, I want to be that person that for whatever reason, if she can't come to you or her dad, her husband, then I'm there to support her. And you know that you can trust me to do that. So it's about just having, it's the same thing, it's just having somebody that's going to reaffirm them. Not saying that, and again, not saying that the parents can't do that, but I find that when I'm supporting young people, and the parents are saying, "What are you doing to get through to them?" I've been telling them that, and I'm saying, "I'm not the mum. I'm not the
Mm,
parent." So there's not heartstrings attached. So it's about having that next person that they can look up to and have that connection with, and that again, that's going to reaffirm them, and set that open, honest, that space that they can go to, that they can speak to. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean? Yeah.
definitely. So all that we've been talking on today, with the parents bonding and all that, and you've given some good advice on how people can do stuff, but how can they stay consistent even when days look hard? How can they like really stay consistent? Because the advice you're giving is good, but there's going to be days when they come in and they just explode. Or but how can they stay consistent? What's the tip or something they can do every day to stay consistent, would you say?
Right. Okay. So there is going to be days when you get things wrong, and you get up. You know what I mean. It kind of goes out the window. But I have things like tools like on my phone, like you check in with yourself. Like at 12 o'clock, my alarm goes off like midday, and it pops up. Jenny, how are you feeling today? How are you feeling in this moment? Yeah. So it's like setting that tone to understand how you're feeling throughout the day. Now, if there's times, like you said, that it's not always going to go great, but it's about having the tools. I call it an emotional your toolkit, your actual your toolkit, your personal development toolkit that you can draw on. For me, it's my journaling, it's my praying, it's my declarations. And again, sometimes things happen, and if you do get upset, just own it. Do you know what I mean? If you've come in and you've yelled, own it. Okay, you know what? How I just dealt with that right now, that's not the right way to do it. And don't say, oh, because I've had a tough day at work. Please don't use that. I would encourage you, own it and say, actually, that's not the way that I should behave. Do you know what I mean? Really, really own it. Don't cover it over. And I think in terms of what you're saying, in terms of being able to manage that, it's like really be working on your emotions on a day-to-day basis. Know what, if you can know what your triggers are, and obviously you can't know because sometimes somebody's going to say something and it may get to you, but it's about not taking things personal as well. If your child comes home and they're in a bit of a way where they're not feeling so good today, I've done it before. You're just taking it personal. And I remember my daughter saying, "Oh, it's always about you, isn't it? You don't know what's happened today. You don't know what happened at school." Do you know what I mean? So it's about giving yourself grace and knowing that you're not always going to get it right. Nobody's going to get it right. Even me here talking on this show, I don't always get things right, but I will own it. If I've done something wrong, I will own it. That's all you can do.
definitely. So let's talk about if now the child's playing up at home and they're giving their parents trouble. They're giving the parents real trouble at home. And the parents has tried so many things because that's part of the bonding that, where you say you need to work on yourself first. But when the child is just being misbehaving at school and then coming at home as well and just giving his mum problems, say it's a boy child, for example, and he's giving his mum problem at home, he's not listening. What would you say that parent need to do or could do today to help them? What would you say?
Okay, so it refers back to what I was saying before. Intervention is self care. If you know you can't cope, there's no point, I've given you tools, but I always say to families, there's no one size fits all. Your child could be playing up, something could be happening at school. Your child might have a natural disorder where they have with their behavior. Yeah. So that's not something you're going to be able to manage because A, you're not qualified. B, those emotional strings you probably forget. Even if your child has a diagnosis or something, you may even forget, and your child may not be diagnosed. Let's just be real. It may be something's going on and the behavior is not good. Yeah, and you can't manage it. You're gonna explode or what have you. It's about, as I said again, if you don't have it's about really looking up, getting a support system. And I always say, the thing is, when I first started coaching, I remember speaking to a particular parent, and this child, this young person, there weren't, there was their behavior wasn't, there was nothing wrong with their behavior. They just lacked confidence and what have you. But aside from that, I always say to like parents, when that particular child, okay, your child is good behavior, but doesn't mean because somebody's going to be coming to support them in coaching or whatever it is that they're a bad child. Now, in the place of what you're saying about this particular child, it's about the prevention, getting that prevention. Like sometimes we can't foresee that the behavior is going to take place and what have you. But it's about, some parents say that they don't have the affordability, and I understand that. But there are a lot of free services out there in terms of getting that support. You need to get some support. And again, it could be a support system. So I always say to parents, and again, this is something, write a list of who's in your team. Like your football team. Yeah, I heard this the other day.
Yeah.
Like, who are your 11 people or whatever it is that in times of need that you can actually call on, if that makes sense. And again, I know it's not always possible because some people that have their family, that they don't have any support. But as I said, there are a lot of free services out here now that you can tap into to get that support. It's all about the support. And I know we say it takes a village to raise a child, but not everybody has somebody. So I'm doing it from two sides. But it's about, you really need that intervention, because you doing that and even working on yourself, something could be happening at home, at the school. Your child might be getting bullied while they're acting up, for instance, and you don't know.
Yeah. So where can people connect with you? What's are you on social media? Do you have a website? I should have brought it up really, but yeah,
Yeah, that's okay.
definitely should have brought it up. But I will post it in YouTube as well. I'll post it in the comments and stuff. So where can people find you? What social media are you on?
So I'm on Instagram under Jenny Beckford 1, and Instagram Greater Elevation. I have the Facebook profile, Jenny Beckford. I've also got a free Facebook community for parents of teens called Elevating Parents to Elevate Teens. Within that Facebook group, you will receive strategies from me, not surface level parent tips. I go into the root. There's videos in there. There's me showing up in there, and I also have services outside of the Facebook community, which is paid services, group coaching, one-to-one coaching, and I've got a program coming up actually mums, for mums. And the reason why it's for mums at the moment is because this is just something that I feel that I need to do to pour back into the mums. And it's called the Mum Elevate program. But saying that, the work that I do, it's for all the family. If anybody wants to have a discussion with me, I'm offering a complimentary 30 minutes consultation where we can have a chat on Zoom, and we can see where it goes in terms of what support that you need as well.
I want to just touch on your business, because it just talking there and what you said, what you do, and as a young black lady, how did you go about starting your business? I want to talk about that a little bit, because there's many people who may be listening out there today, and some of the services that you offer, and they're thinking, where do I start? How do I start? I've got this burning thing that I want to do, but how do I start it? Where do I start from? Because someone like you who's got all these services, how did you do it?
Okay, so I started up is when it was COVID. I started up with my laptop, like no money. Started up with a laptop, but I'm going to be honest with you. I invested in myself on a high level with coaches and mentors. At one point, I had a coach for every area of my life. It got to that point where I was like, I need to go, I need to play full out. I need to go all in. I just want to say you don't have to do what I did,
Yeah.
but it's about you got to really work on your mindset first. Because when I first started, that was my thing. You know, I was too scared to even have a consultation with anybody. And one of my coaches was saying, how are you going to be able to create impact if you're too scared to do that? So first things first, I would say is my starting point. As I said, I had a laptop, I had a coach, then I moved on to have a business mentor for two business mentors for 12 months. And I've had various coaches and various mentors as well. But I would say it's your mindset. You need to really work on that. And you can't, like with me, I have to work on my mindset every single day. So it has to be something. I would say if anybody's going to start their business, start with your mindset, get into communities. Get into, there's a lot of communities. If you want Facebook, WhatsApp, get into the right communities, networking as well. That's a big thing for me that I do. But yeah, literally, I started up with my laptop. I made an Instagram page. I registered my business on Company's House, and I just started showing up on social media. I know a lot of people don't like that, but honestly, you know, when I first started, I remember going into a WhatsApp group. I was quite nervous and talked, put a message about what I did. And somebody from Jamaica, from this youth organization, messaged me and said, "Oh, I saw that you do this services coaching. Would you be, can you coach our young people?" I'm like, "Yeah." And that was my first and can you come and deliver a talk online? And I was like really nervous. But that was when it was COVID, so that was all online. So I was just showing up and using social media. There was no paid ads. It was very organic. I just come on, I talk about things, I go on lives with people. Soon after then, I was, on podcast. The other day, I did a talk for, it was Marcus Garvey Day. I did a talk on Marcus Garvey Day with Dr. Julius Garvey there. I've got a contact in Canada who became my business associate online because she's seen me. So it's a case of my laptop and just myself, and just kept showing up, social media page. I don't have a website. I'm working on a website now, but all this time that I've been doing that, I've just been showing up. That's so what I'm saying to people, that if you've got a passion, whatever it is, your business, whatever. For me, I remembered that if I don't put myself out there, I could be doing a family disservice. They probably need my support. So I'm just gonna need to show up. And as I started to show up, started going into schools and delivering programs to young people. Then I delivered a program for parents in schools, and I'm in talks with a few other schools of coming in to give some more support. So it's just about, I'm reaching out to people as well. I used to contact, schools. Sometimes people say no, okay, next. But you have to really work on your mindset, because if you don't, when you're getting a no, you might it can dampen your confidence if you're not working on your mindset. So I would say, in terms of starting a business, for me, as I said, I didn't have any money to start a business. I mean, I had my laptop and the money for Company's House. And then I started getting coaching. knowing how to put my packages together. So it all came together. So I would say get yourself a mentor or a mentor, stroke coach, whatever, to help you with your business idea, because that's what I had to do, but work on your mindset as well. If you're not able to get a coach at the moment, read. There's books that you can read. There's YouTube until you can maybe get to that space where you say, right, I'm able to invest in a coach or a mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, I always have the coaches and mentors that have like the same values as myself, if that makes sense. But yeah, you need a community as well. Need like accountability partners. I have multiple accountability partners, and there's a scripture that I use in the Bible: iron sharpens iron. Like if there's a day where I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm not really feeling to do this, that's it. My accountability partner said, what do you mean? No, you've got to keep moving. And we always
Mm.
support each other. So it's about having a community, having an accountability partner or partners that you can check in to say that I'm going to do my website by Friday and I'm going to have it over, I'm going to send it over to you so you can see that I can do it. Don't try to do it by yourself. Don't have this mentality about that says no new friends. Listen, you need to have people that are on the journey, same journey as yourself, because sometimes you'll have friends and have families that don't quite understand your journey and don't understand your vision, but just keep your vision at the forefront and don't let anybody talk you out of what you need to do, because your mind will always start to trick you out of your spot. Do you know how many times I'll be like, oh, I don't think I should do that. Even my own daughter, when I asked one of my twins, I remember at the time, what'd you think of me 5 years ago? What'd you think of me starting up a little thing? I said a little business to talk to young people. My daughter said, no, don't do it. No child's gonna want to talk to you about the business, mum. Don't do it.
Mm.
And now here we are. So I just said to her, thanks for your opinion, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I just
Yeah.
keep pushing. So, yeah. So I would say just get yourself a network, even if you can't invest, get yourself in a community. There's loads of Facebook communities, there's loads of WhatsApp communities. They're all free. And get yourself on social media. If you are shy and you're nervous, start off maybe posting on your stories that last for 24 hours. That will start getting you into the giving you the confidence that perhaps you might want to upload a video on social media. A lot of people are against social media, but I would say I was like that at the beginning. It's about having the confidence. And if you don't have the confidence, then I would say that's a mindset issue that you really need to be working on. Yeah.
Yeah. And you talk about that mindset before we come to a closure of the show. How did you work on your mindset, or what is some of the stuff that you do to work on your mindset?
Okay. So non-negotiable is I pray, not just every morning. I pray all the time. I do like a journaling practice. I also, one of my coaches as well, a couple of my coaches, and one of my other coaches before, because there's things that we've buried and we've not kind of faced it. So let's just say, for example, if I was going to start the business, I'm just making this up, and maybe my relationship with my daughter wasn't how it was supposed to be, and I was just continuing to push forward with the business, but then that's in the back, that's going to block me, even though I think that I'm over it. So it's about making sure that as much as possible, that any sort of traumas or anything that you haven't confronted, to kind of confront that. Maybe that's counseling, maybe you just need coaching to help you with your mindset. Things like journaling is really good, just writing out how you're feeling. And writing, being grateful, gratitude as well. Like even when things are not going 100%, just be grateful. That
Grateful,
was something
definitely.
I had to think, because in the beginning I was getting caught up. In the beginning, nothing's really happening. I'm not really doing anything and what have you. And then I just had to turn that around. And the more that I was grateful, the more opportunities were coming to me. So being grateful, writing 3 things every morning for what you're grateful for, pray. I know we all have different beliefs, but I would say, even if your belief is not in God, you must believe in something. You've got to stand for something, because when things are going up and down, what is it that's going to help to anchor you? Yeah, that's one thing I always say. For me, it's my faith that anchors me. For somebody else, it might be the universe, it might be whatever it is. Yeah. But yeah, and just having safe space in terms of people, a person that you can just be you. Do you know what I mean? You can be like, do you know what? Actually, today I don't feel like I can do this. Yeah, you've got to have that kind of space where you can say that to somebody. Yeah, and without feeling that you're going to be judged.
Judged on it.
That's going to help your mindset. Yeah. So yeah, just having that support system. Writing out how you're feeling. If today you're not feeling good, write that out. Today is a day where I'm not in the mood or what have you. Write it out and then rip it up and then throw it away. That represents that we're getting rid of that day as well. Don't suppress your emotions. Really work on your emotions as well. That's what I would say. There's a lot of good books out there that you can that can help you.
Yeah. Could you name one of those books, or on the top of your head, or would you say
Because there's so many. I'm
there's
trying to
so
think of
many in it?
one.
I know there's
Yeah, there's
loads.
so many. I think one I would think in terms of one springs to mind, Atomic Habits, and the reason why that springs to mind is that let's just say you're starting your business and you're not consistent in doing things. You know what I mean? That's going to help you in terms of your habits.
Yeah.
I have a framework which is called what words, habits, actions, and thoughts. Yeah. So really kind of get you to be more self-aware about the words that you are speaking. What are your habits like? If you're a person that says that you want to want to run a business or you want to do something, yeah, what is the traits of that person? Do you know what I mean? It's about getting into it and learning those traits. Your actions, the actions that you're doing, is it going to get you to where you need to be? Do you know what I mean? Your thoughts, what kind of things are you thinking? Are you keep thinking, oh, okay, I rang that school, they don't want to work with me, that means I'm a failure. Those are things you're saying to yourself. So yeah, and just really think about how you're showing up for yourself.
Yeah.
So even in the morning as well, I forgot something I do in the morning is I've got these declarations I say, I've recorded myself. So I look in the mirror, I say it every single day. There's things that you ingrain into you to make sure that you can set yourself up in terms of your mindset. What's your exercise like? If you don't go to the gym, are you going for a walk? Things that are going to make you feel good.
Yeah.
Really kind of get into that space. Yeah.
Oh wow, that was a lot. Well done.
But
Absolutely,
yeah,
I'm
I
telling
know it's a
you.
lot. But yeah, I mean,
No,
it's a
it's all
case
good.
of it's a case of it is. I think for me, I will go above and beyond. But what I want to say to everybody that's listening to this now or on the replay, I'm not saying that all of the things that I've mentioned that you have to do all of them. Yeah, you might be in the morning, you might just want to just do, declarations or affirmations. I don't like to get into this space where I've heard it on social media. This person says you to do this. This person says you need to get up at 5 in the morning to get things done or what have you. You know yourself, so you know what would fit you. You might not be a morning person. You might not be a person that wants to do stuff in the morning. But I beg to differ. If you had to go on holiday and they
You
told you
get
need to
up.
be
Come
there
on,
at 3 o'clock,
you get
you'd
up.
get up. So I
Yeah.
kind of I don't really take that as an excuse. But we all know our body clock, and we all know what we're capable of. But even if you start off with one thing and then you start to compile yourself a toolkit, that's something that you can refer back to. But I would say do what suits you, because I'm me is me, you is you. What I do may not work for you, but just find something, even out of one of the things that I've said, that you might start to get into. But if you read Atomic Habits, it's going to help you with your setting some, positive habits for you as well.
Let me bring this question up for you. See, can you see that one?
How do you tell a parent? How do you tell a parent that they're a part of the child's behavior if you know the response is not going to be good? Okay. So how do I tell a parent? Okay, so the way I do it, if a parent has paid for my services, that means you've given me permission to be able to coach you. Yeah. So when we have a consultation, that consultation is to find out if we are a good fit. But on that consultation, I would say, you know, if we decide to work together, you're going to sometimes have to face some hard truths. Yeah. So in response to that question, even if the response is not going to be good, yeah, because I'm working on my mindset, I'm not going to take it personal. Because here, what my thing is that if you were going to the gym, I'll give you an analogy. I'm always doing analogies. If you was going to the gym and you had your gym instructor that said to you, first day you've come, give me 25 press ups, and you were saying, "Oh, I can only do three." So the instructor goes, "All right, then, Jenny, just do three." So you're like, "Yeah." You come back again. He says, "Give me 25 press ups." Oh, I can only do three. What's going to happen by week 3 or 4? You're going to be telling your friends, going to be like, "How's it going at the gym?" "No, that PT is too soft on me. When I come there, it says give me 25, he lets me do three." Yeah. So the same thing is like me. I'm not going to be that person that's just gonna, "Oh, I don't feel like doing it today." No, we're not doing that. Yeah. So it's a case of there's going to be things that you're going to not like what I have to say, but the way I deliver it is going to be from a non-judgmental space, and it's going to be done in love, but we're going to get those results because you're going to do the work, if that makes sense. Yeah. It's probably going to be uncomfortable. It's probably going to be harsh. When you have to change, it's not going to be, you're not going to like it. But it's for me, I'm not going to be that coach that's going to be like, I'm not going to tell them that because they're going to probably, be offended or what have you.
Yeah,
But, sometimes I say the truth hurts, innit?
that's
So,
right.
yeah.
Yep, yep,
Yeah, we've got to do
definitely.
the work. We've got to do the work because my reputation is at stake here. If I'm going to work with you and you're not actually going to cooperate, then we're going to have a conversation about that. Is this something that you still want to continue to do? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? We wouldn't just be doing it and I'm seeing that you're not doing the work. I think for me that will be kind of like unethical because I can see you're not really wanting to do the work. So we need to have that conversation. But on the flip it's going to be uncomfortable, and there's going to be times that you're probably not going to like me. It's all good. I still got love for you, but we're going to do this work and we're going to get the transformation. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've had that happen to me before a couple of times, but when we've got the results, the parents are like, "Oh no, thank you so much." Yeah, but yeah, it's good. We're going to have difficult conversations, but that's part of it. That's part of it. So yeah.
that's part of it. What would you say? What would be the most out of all the work that you've done, without giving anybody's name or too much information, that you saw that a parent came to you and that it changed their whole family?
It was a
Without giving any name or anything, or yeah,
yeah, it was a mum and daughter,
yep,
and like the mums had like really old school ways, and it was a single parent household, and the child used to spend time with one parent and not the other parent. Yeah, I don't want to say too much, but anyway, on the basis of that, the work that was done, it was just like a transformation in terms of being able to have conversations as mum and daughter. That was something that wasn't on the table. They had some difficult conversations, but they
yeah,
got through it before they wasn't able to have those conversations. And that kind of light me up. But yeah, they do the work, and it just transformed on the whole. Some of the conversations that they had to have, there was a few tears. But yeah, the work, they really put in the work. And yeah, that was at the beginning, it was a bit like, we need your help kind of thing. But they were ready to do the work, and they were ready to do what it takes. And they did it. And yeah, it was a great transformation. It was a great transformation.
wow,
It was difficult because there was a lot of communication breakdown. There was a lot of both sides taking things personal. It was a bit like the parent not listening to the child wanting to speak to the parent, but the parent thinking the child's being a bit outspoken, if that makes sense. But we got around it in the end. Yeah. because
Definitely.
it's helping the parent to. So what I do with the parents, I help them to unlearn the old thought patterns before they relearn. So you have to unlearn the old thought patterns before we can move
Before you learn
forward.
the move way,
So we
yeah.
deal with that with the mindset first. And I see, there's a little bit of an assessment. I see where your mindset is. Okay, great. So we've really got to deal with that, and we've got to look at the patterns, and we've got to see, your way of thinking, and help you to rewire your brain in terms of helping you to rewrite a new story. That's what I say to everybody that I work with. We're going to help you to rewrite a new story. Yes, and by doing certain exercises, and giving them the tools to do it as well, the strategies, not just like surface level. It's really deep rooted. A lot of identity work as well. That's all involved, and that really does make a difference. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, as we come to a close, I'm going to leave this open for you right now. This is the audience out there. So this is your time just to say anything to the audience that is listening today. So I'm going to give you that free floor for yourself just to say whatever you want to the audience today.
Okay. So there's no such thing as a perfect parent. That's one thing. And what I want to say that if you do the work in terms of your mindset and really looking at areas of your life that you need to change, that's going to have that's really going to evolve other areas of your life. Yeah, because a lot of parents feel like, I'm not here to fix you, I'm here to empower you to make that change and help you to look at ways, and think see things from a different perspective. Yeah. So I would always say that if your leg was broken, you wouldn't go to the dentist. So what I'm saying is, please, parents, try your best to don't speak to other people who are not qualified to help you. That's what I would say. Seek that support. Intervention is self-care. You're bringing up your mum, your sister, your brother, your this, your that. Those people may be qualified as well. Just going to put that out there. But remember, there's the heartstrings that are attached. So it may be kind of biased and it may be kind of blurred. So making sure that you speaking to the right people and getting support from the right people. Yeah. Now I always say, I'm here to support. If you want to, as I said, you've got my social medias. If it's like you just want a consultation, I'm offering a 30 minutes consultation for the rest of for 2 weeks. I'm happy to speak to anybody. But at the end of the day, it's not too late for you to make a change. Once you start to work on yourself, you will see the change, and other people. When other people start to see the change, that's when you know that, yeah, I'm definitely doing the work. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you, Jenny, for coming on the Just Talk Black show. I'm telling you, I'm going to have you for a part 2 because there's so much more that we can definitely dive deep into. There is so much more.
Okay. I just forgot one more thing. Parents, do the love language quiz with your child. Look up the 5 love languages. Gary Chapman, there's a free quiz. Do that love language, see what their love language is. If it's they love receiving gifts, I'm not telling you need to go and get them trainers, but little things, memorabilia, maybe a framed picture of you and them when there's a baby, what have you. But look at the quiz and see what your love language is. Mine's quality time. And have a discussion with your child. What is their love language? What is your love language? And use that to your advantage. Sorry, DJ Purpose. I needed to give them something to go away with.
Say that person again. Who is it that they need to look up?
The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman.
Gary Chapman. Okay.
Yeah, there's a quiz online. You'll be able to. It's a free quiz.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Jenny, thank you for coming on the Just Talk Black show again. Really do appreciate it. As I said, I would definitely have to have you for part 2 because we need to sit down and definitely do a part 2. There is so much more that we can dive deep into. For the knowledge that you gave today, just blowing me away, especially about the mindset and, having a mentor and all that sort of stuff that you've talked about today. It's just been absolutely amazing, So guys, do support. If you are new here as well, please subscribe to the channel. It will notify you when we're on, as we're on each and every Thursday at 7 p.m. And also we do have panel discussion, which Jenny herself was on. We had a black parenting panel as well, which has just gone on Monday. So if you really want to watch that, you can watch that on the Just Talk Black show. But Jenny, thank you for coming on to the Just Talk Black show today. And that's it, guys, as we came to the end of the show. Wow, what a show that was. Come on, this is what we needed. So parents, you've today got a couple of tips that you can take away to start doing with your kids to build that stronger bond, which is important. Sometimes we need to look at ourselves. As Jenny said, we need to start by, and if we want change, we have to start looking at ourselves first. And maybe doing some healing and some deep searching within ourselves. It's been a powerful topic today, and just join us again next week Thursday at 7 p.m. I will bring the person who we are going to have on next week Thursday, and we're going to be talking about black men and mental health. Come on, this is one that you do not want to miss at all as well. So please do get those likes up. It keeps on pushing the channel out there to many people. And if you want to get on the Just Talk Black show, the phone number is 07471539533. And what that basically does, it gets you in contact with me, and all it is, you tell me what you do if you're a black business owner or you've got a testimony, and then I will send you out a form. You fill that form in. We do a 10-minute test of your internet speed and your camera, and then we set a date for you to come on to the Just Talk Black show. And I just want to thank you for all the listeners and all the participation who participated in the chat today. Thank you for your questions and everything. And guys, thank you for watching the Just Talk Black show. I'm your host, DJ Purpose.
Every black parent raising a son or daughter in the UK. This one's for you. Just Talk Black show.
Black parenting ain't easy, but we rise every day. Teaching our kids how to walk through a world that don't always play. We show them love and discipline, both hand in hand. Cause you need heart and wisdom just to grow in this land.
Early morning school runs, telling them believe. Teaching them their history so they never feel naive. Identity solid, roots steady in the ground. Every black child deserves to feel safe and proud.
Baby, know your worth, know the power in your skin. Every challenge you face, we teach you how to win. From the home to the world, we protect, we prepare. Black parenting means love, covered in prayer. When we raise them up, higher, higher, higher. Confidence on fire, 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 fire. Black parents in the UK, standing strong, guiding every child as they find where they belong. When we raise them up,
bold in every way, teaching who they are so they never fade away. Culture in the smile, pride in the glow, celebrating our families on the Just Talk Black show.
Our daughters, your magic, the world needs your shine. And our sons, your softness and strength intertwine. Homework, hard checks, lessons from the past, breaking generational pain so their joy can last.
From praise on a Sunday to blessing every step, we build a home of safety, respect and intellect. Values passed down from the elders before. Black parenting is purpose, not a chore.
If the world feels heavy, child, just lean on me. I'll be your guide, your light, your peace. We came from royalty, that truth still flows. You are the legacy everyone should know. Boy, we raise them up. Think
Just Talk Black Show.